Man City's new signing Cold is one of the best players in the world at the moment. This season he's won 3 Duo Cash Cups, placed loads in solos, as well as just won Grand Finals by a crazy margin with Acorn. In this video, I'm going to break down his full fighting strats, everything that he's doing in 1v1s to beat other players, things that he's doing in-game, as well as in tournaments to drop 30 bombs in Cash Cup finals like it's nothing, as well as everything that he's doing to get loads of kills in a safe, effective manner in duos that you guys can easily put into your gameplay. Please leave a like on this video and let's get straight into it. Here's 2 really nice mechanical plays I noticed from Cold's highlight video that I think you guys can copy quite easily. The first one is very simple. As he's doing this triplet right here, he doesn't place the wall straight away and instead he shakes his mouse and gets the extended stairs to get a bit of peace on the opponent. Then as he comes up, he makes sure to grab the close wall, that's his priority, then gets the side and back walls, and now he's got a really smart peek. He can do a lot of different edits in this situation, but the key thing is he spots his opponent with the blueprint out. He's always holding the edit for a second, looking at what the opponent is doing, spots him with the blueprint out, and then just goes for a 50-50 edit, lines up the max damage shot. The next play is from Zone Wars. This is a really good play that you can do to sort of outpsych your opponents. He does a triple edit up, gets a close wall on the opponent, but he doesn't do a sort of window or a right hand peek. Instead, he gives his opponent a good peek. So this guy's encouraged to stand here and try to win the Angel, since of course it looks like a good peek for him. He's completely exposed, he can line up the shot. However, Cold outplays him completely. He swings behind, he crouches, which is a really important part of this, and then as he peeks, he's going to uncrouch, so he's got that acceleration, not just walking forward slowly into the peak, hits the 185, resets, holds the wall, which is really important, and then jumps forward with AR and gets the kill just like that. This next fight, Cold does 3 really quick mechanical plays back to back. He does them so fluidly and so seamlessly that the other opponent gets completely caught out. The first one is really easy to do. It's just doing an open edit and then resetting and holding the wall just like that. Baits the opponent's shot out, allows him to get the full box while he's got shotgun delay, and he almost gets his shot off in return here, how he just barely misses his pump. Next, Cold thinks really fast here and he spots the opponent reloading his gun. Doesn't matter if you guys are 1 HP on the dot, if you see or hear somebody reloading, try to get counter damage. Do an open edit, even if you're completely exposed, try to open up and get some counter damage on the opponent like Cold does there. Next, Cold does a really smart play. He edits down and then take a look at this crosshair placement. He perfectly looks up, swaps the brick to hold this wall, and as soon as the guy sprays and he starts to reload his gun again, take a look what Cold does. Stares over his head so he can't get blocked off, does a bottom right edit, and then take a look at how good this peek is. He's got this whole floor on the left hand side completely protecting him. He's fully covered by that, allows him to right hand peek into the guy who's perfectly standing in the open. He has no shot in return from the opponent, so even though he's low HP here, he can peek very safely and out trades the guy again who's caught reloading. This whole sequence took less than 10 seconds, but Cold did so many quick plays back to back that are quite easy to do. Again, he's not being too flashy here, he's just doing the basics and he's doing them very effectively to get damage onto his opponents when they make mistakes. One thing that Cold does extremely well as he chases elims and refreshes in the late game is he knows exactly when to spray and when to try to grab walls, and he does this really smartly. So first things first, he breaks that initial wall, and then right here, this guy has just edited 2 of these walls, so they're both low HP and you can just spray through with a couple AR bullets, but the key thing is he's missing that next wall forward. So as you can see, Cold sprays through and he grabs that extended wall on the opponent. It's really easy to grab this wall. However, you guys need to look to grab it as you chase down these elims in late game and as you try to get refreshes. He grabs that wall, other guy turns around expecting it to be his and expecting his places, but Cold's already got it and he gets a nice easy refresh to contribute to this 30 bomb. If you guys are interested, I've just launched 2 new articles completely free on my site. I'll link them down below for both directly, and these articles are a 15-minute speed training routine so you can improve your crosshair placement, as well as how efficient you are with your mouse movement, as well as an hour-long mechanics routine that is unbelievably good. If you wanted to get one thing from this video, all these fighting tips from Cold, if you want to implement them properly, do that mechanics routine. It takes 1 hour. I'll link it down below, and you guys can access it completely for free. This next fight contains an absolutely insane load of mechanical plays, but the key thing with Cold is he's obviously got extremely fast mechanics, but he's not just going at full speed the whole time. He slows down at the correct moments. Let's take a look at how he does this. The first thing is he looks for counter damage on this pre-fire right here, and the key thing is he's not just pre-firing in a bad spot where the opponent can piece him up and then kill him straight away. Take a look at what he does. He waits for the guy to get the floor, and then when he should have probably just done the floor edit, he goes for a quick pre-fire. But the key thing is he can backwards ramp over himself, just do a ramp like that to cover himself, to protect himself. And then also what he can just do is walk forward and reset the wall to get out the way of the guy if he was to open up that edit again. The next thing that Cold does is he does a sprint sign jump just like this. He sprints up and gets the extended high wall. So he gets a 2 high wall up like that just to protect himself from taking any damage from the opponent. Next, take a look what he does. He baits the chop out and then slows down. Instead of just trying to clip the guy in Storm and build fighting him, he slows down, uses the visual audio tracker, so you can see the guy's actually moving from this direction, he's moving left to right, and he's about to jump down, and Cold is tracking this on the visual audio, really easy to do, and lines up a nice 134 shot, and he's going to use that to help close the fight. Again, Cold keeps on using his mechanics in a good way right here, as he tries to go for the quick counter peek, but straight after not missing the shot, look, he double resets and make sure he's completely safe from the opponent, so he's got 2 layers of protection in case he gets replaced, and then he's going to use his mechanics to speed up the tempo and go really fast into the opponent. But he's not just blindly jumping into a box 50-50 while he's doing this, like I'm sure a lot of you guys would. Instead, he's getting the full piece on the opponent, and he's taking the time to think about what edit he should do in this situation, so he doesn't just 50-50 the snooty pump, which this guy has, as you can tell by the map. Instead, he takes a second, he thinks, oh, opponent's swinging over to that side, I can't edit straight down here, you can't do like a reverse flip because he'd fall down and die to fall damage, so the guy edited the floor. Instead, he's going to do this edit, really simple, really easy to do, jumps as he does it, hits the 100 tag, and then is able to speed up a little bit, but slows down, knows the guy's stuck in the full box, and just sprays through the floor. Sometimes the best option isn't doing an edit like that and trading a pump for the guy, it's just to spray through when they're in a bad situation and get an easy kill. This next fight, Cold does 2 very interesting things. The first things first is using the suppressor on a shotgun, which is really OP, and then the next is doing this ramp peek. Right here, a lot of players would do something different in this situation, but Cold is using this ramp that's been placed over him by the other player to actually counter peek versus him. The first time he tries to do this is by doing this crossbox edit. So he's trying to edit the top 3 tiles like that, and then he's going to go ahead and whack a cone on the other player just like that, and he'll be able to do a nice peek swinging around the ramp and get a free chip shot. Unfortunately, he misses up the edit, so take a look what he does next. He does a reverse double edit from below, and then look, he steps back to the left as he does the double edit, and now he's swinging back into the right on the other player. And this is an extremely hard shot for the other player to actually hit because of the floor A blocking him, and also because of the stair that's all covering Cold, making it very awkward to get hit in return. Cold gets a free opening damage shot, they have 100, and then he's able to use that to close the fight quickly. This endgame, Cold plays absolutely flawless box fighting fundamentals. He's trying to chase down his 30 bombs, so he gets very aggro on this guy's wall, and ends up doing a shotgun replace, which is a good play, but he takes a little bit too much damage in return, and now he gets aggroed while low HP. So how do you deal with this situation, especially in endgame where you can't just rebox loads? First of all, step 1 is he moves into the box where he's got these 2 arch edits, which allows him to counter peek safely. This means that he can commit the medkit for as long as possible and then reset the wall as the guy opens up his own edit. Now, Cold is going to go for a counter peek, so take a look at how he does this. First things first is he doesn't just open up a 50-50 edit where they can both see each other. Instead, he swings fully back into this back left corner. He's moving not just to the left where he'd be behind the wall, instead he's moving to the back left. You want to play your range as much as possible when you're low HP, especially against an auto shotgun. This means that when he does the edit, he is now perfectly hidden from the opponent. He can't take any damage in return, and then he's going to counter peek with perfect crosshair placement for headshot level. If you guys don't know where crosshair headshot is, halfway between the wall, put your crosshair halfway, and you have a max damage headshot every single time. The guy swings in, and take a look as Cold swings into the peak, right? He's not swinging forward diagonally, getting close to the guy. Instead, he's swinging backwards, maneuvering behind further into the box, playing the range of the pump, and gets a perfect headshot at headshot level. Really easy to do. He makes it look so easy. This next fight is a couple useful things that Cold does. First things first is he's pressuring, and this guy's just in a massive load of metal boxes. Whenever you're fighting somebody like this, you need to make sure that you do something to prevent them from just reboxing even further. So Cold does this very smartly, just by placing some bait stairs out to the side, sort of draws the guy's attention, makes him look perhaps over this way, while Cold re-aggresses from a different angle, and also limits the rebox potential from this guy. Then he comes on from this wall, does a double pickaxe replace, never ever triple pickaxe. He gets away with the double pickaxe here because he's just swapped to his angle, you shouldn't normally do it, but immediately after getting the double replace, he pulls out a shotgun and out-trades the opponent by a tiny little bit of damage, and then immediately sprays through. Always, 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 guys, whenever you're on a good advantageous angle and you just get trade hit, try to spray through with your AR, with your SMG, and get even more damage. Obviously, make sure you're at a range. You can see he actually steps back as he does this, so you can't get one pump counter pumped by the other opponent as you break the wall. But the key thing is try to get that little bit of damage. It allows you to play a lot more confident. If you were to heal up, you'd have a little bit of a HP advantage for the rest of the fight. However, Cold here knows his opponent, who is absolutely begging it in all these boxes, is going to go for a counter peek. So look what he does. He keeps his eyes on where the visual sound effects are, keeps his crosshair on the opponent. Guy opens up a wall, doesn't get fully behind the peak, and Cold gets a nice easy pre-fire to end the fight. One really important detail that I noticed while watching a lot of Cold is how efficient his crosshair placement is in terms of not doing too much movement as he completes edits. He's basically doing every single edit with as efficient crosshair placement as possible, and really crucially, he slows down towards the end of an edit and he's always making sure his crosshair is left at the correct level. This is a perfect example of this, is as he clips this guy in a ranked game right here. As you can see, perfect crosshair placement. He's not doing any movement as he edits the stairs as well. He's making sure that he's editing the most efficient way possible by dragging it from the front to the side like there. And then as he does the walls, perfect crosshair placement afterwards to go into the next edit. I really recommend you guys try doing some type of training. I'll leave a link down below, some free training that you can do to help your crosshair placement and get more efficient with it. As you can see, this means that as he's going to hop into a box, instead of wildly swinging his mouse around, instead his crosshair's already in a decent position and he just is able to slowly adjust it to hit a max damage on his opponent. Again, right here, he goes up, does a very nice efficient triple edit, gets the close wall, gets the side wall, and then slows down, lines up the max damage headshot. It's really important that you look where your opponent is and what you can actually do to hit that shot. Also, just one thing, this is how you guys do the speed up start on PGs. After you do 290s, you do an extra ramp like this and then do a jump and you get an extra whole level above somebody. So you basically always have start height at the start of a PG. It's really effective to do, I'll show it again. So you just do a regular 90 and then you do an extra little 90 to the side like that, and it gives you an extra whole layer above your opponent, and you're always going to have height at the start of 1v1s if you guys care about that. This is a very nice technique that you guys can use just to end fights quickly. Whenever you're hunting somebody down, you just hit this player 99 and he's going to chase him. Take a look at what he does. He does not replace as he goes forward. So many players would replace the wall here and it gives the other opponent a time to get out of the box, but instead he just walks straight forward. Especially when somebody's committing to a mini, you can just walk straight into the box like this and get a free kill on somebody thinking you're going to delay and edit the wall and then spray through. Instead, just walk straight forward and you'll be able to take them out easily. Whenever you guys are box fighting, always scan the other person's box as you approach. Right here, this other person has got the cones in their box, which is correct, obviously. However, they're missing this center wall, which is really important. Whenever you're fighting somebody, they're missing just a single thing in their box. That should be your priority to take, because it allows you to end the fight quicker. Cole gets the middle wall right here, forcing the guy to drop down, forcing himself to get loads of damage on the other player. And then as he approaches again, he's missing this crucial center wall. The key thing is you shouldn't shoot. You shouldn't go for any type of at all. All you should be prioritizing is getting that wall right there as you drop in, just like Cole does. Gets the wall, does the edit, and this means that he doesn't take damage in return, and he's able to use that wall to end the fight just by jumping into the box using the AR. This next fight is a very good example of slowing down the tempo at the correct time, as well as just using your crosshair to get walls off in difficult situations. First thing first is Cole is trying to go for loads of quick edits in this guy like you just saw, but he slows down, reloads his AR, keeps tracking the visual audio just like that, and then this means that he knows exactly where the guy is going to jump down. Allows him to get the full box, gets the cone on top, as well as the close wall, and then take a look at this crosshair placement. He looks straight up to make sure that he holds his wall. It's really important that you do little things like this to make sure you don't just get jumped on there by an auto shotgun. Then Cole immediately aggroes forward, gets the wall, and plays the range versus the auto. It's really important whenever you're fighting an auto that you never play one box. He's always, you can see here, there's a box, there's another box, and he's back in this box that he's peeking from. So it allows him to out-trade his opponent just like that, and he speeds up again here, gets the walls, gets the blank on the guy, and the guy just decides to die to full damage rather than getting clipped. One of the reasons why Acorn and Cold get so many kills in FNCS, and one of the key reasons why they were able to actually win by such a dominant margin, is they abuse the dead side of zone. Not just for rotates, but also for getting killed. The key way they do this is they rotate as late as possible, so as zone is actually just closing in, so they go as late as possible, and they go into the expanding side on the edge of it. Bugha and Aviv are one team that always go into the dead side, as you can see here. They're trying to force their way into dead side, but Acorn and Cold, specifically Cold as well, is they control the backside and are able to refarm as they do this. The really key thing whenever you're doing this strategy is you need to make sure you force other teams away, so no teams are going to rotate in towards you. Cold does this really nicely with the AR here. He pressures other people away, make sure they cannot rotate into them, and now he's able to rotate completely into the backside of zone, and this gives him a really easy rotate for this max distance 8 zone. Everybody else is on congested side, and they have this entire backside completely to themselves and able to put themselves in a prime position to get a kill here. The way they do this again is really smart. They don't force themselves in early to zone since zone hasn't fully expanded up. Instead, they're going to go as late as possible and try to be the last team rotating in, abusing everybody else with their ARs to try to get somebody low so they can go for a refresh on them. The really important thing with this strategy is they're not opening up trying to hold people on backside who can probably just rotate past them. Instead, they're opening up and looking front side for somebody that's doing a grapple, and they're going to spray and get loads of damage onto one team, and they're going to rotate into the dead side so there's nobody else behind them as they do this strategy, and this allows them to very safely go for a kill looking in one direction, fighting together from the same angle. So you can see here there's nobody behind Acon Cold, there's nobody down this way, and they're able to completely safely fight. They push the team that they got low on the rotate and they get a huge double refresh just like that, and are now in an extremely good position to win this game. One of the biggest reasons why Acon and Cold won FNCS was of course of how good their game plan is, but also how good Cold is at solo clutching. I said this before, but if you want to win FNCS, you need to know how to play solos almost perfectly, because there's definitely going to be a couple games where you have to bring out a massive solo clutch, and just those extra 30 or so points that you can clutch are absolutely huge. Cold does this really smart. He invests a lot of mats here, making sure he's not going to die first moving, and he can screw himself a lot of placement. And then take a look at how good his box fighting is here. He only edits the walls as the other team aren't looking at him. Again, gets a free shot right there, that duo goes down, and he's even able to get a free shot on this new team as well, just by constantly making sure he's editing at the correct times. He only gets shot once in return there while box fighting for a refresh. He's not able to find that refresh, so instead now he has to play back in Storm, and he's going to fully play out both medkits here and come out of Storm as late as possible, since he's only got 13 wood builds left. In this situation, he makes a really good call. He goes underneath this other player's builds, backwards ramps himself, holds his wall, and now he's left in a very difficult spot. Zone is pulling max. He has barely enough builds to build a single box. He can only really get in a cone at this point, but he makes a really good call here, which is going into those old builds down on low ground. Blocks his angles, farms into the old builds, and this allows him to go from a top 12 situation into a top 8, as well as get a kill just from playing these old builds. And then right here, flawless crosshair placement. He's tracking the other player with the visual audio, he's healing, gets a free shot off, and is also able to get the full kill as well, and then goes down to Storm as it pulls over this cliff here. I've said this enough times in the past, but I cannot recommend you guys just getting as good as possible at solos. It's going to bump up your duo placements by so much, especially if you can clutch out games like Cold did in this tournament. One of the reasons why Cold is one of the best players in the world at the moment, especially in duos, is the fact that he is so much more restrained. He is so much less greedy than other tier 1 players. So many times I see people's fundamentals going out the window just because they see a little bit of loot on backside of zone. However, Cold is the perfect example of what you guys should be doing if you're trying to get better at fragging in Fortnite. Take a look here. He hits Polo down to 1 HP, and instead of pushing over and trying to, let's say, box fight that, instead he knows that that layer that Polo and Peterbot just landed on is going to be way too chaotic and way too busy. So you can see loads of other players have just grappled there. Instead, he's focused on having a clean rotate, cutting off those other players by going front side, and he sticks completely on Acon. And then take a look here. Acon makes a really nice call. He spots as a solo backside. And what does Cold do? He's not whacking on a Predator, he's not running towards the other player trying to box fight and get the loot. Instead, this is literally perfect Fortnite. He does a 180 after reloading, blocks the back twice, so they can't get pre-edited, they can't get awareness checked and ran in by another duo, and they both fight for this loot together, but they do not overgreed. Whenever you see somebody backside like this, you never know what their position is exactly. They could easily be standing there with an auto shotgun. There's no need to risk this last game of Grands committing for that loot backside and Storm. Instead, they are both focused on having a clean rotate and sticking directly on each other so nothing can go wrong in the situation. If you guys want to get better at duos, I'd really recommend you spend a bit of time getting your roles established when it comes to getting refreshes endgame. You can see a perfect example of this from Acon and Cold right here. Acon is the one pickaxing and breaking, and then also Cold is the one who's just holding, doing the edit. Allows them to be a lot more quick and fluid when they go for refreshes. Also means that Acon can be focused on the rotate, and one very nice thing these guys do is Acon tends to be not the one editing. He tends to call things, and then Cold does the edit, and he makes sure to do a good edit for his teammate as well. Right here you can see a perfect example. Acon calls it, Cold edits, and they both get that insta kill, and Cold is a really nice pre-fire as Acon breaks the wall right there. This is very easy to do. As your teammate sprays the wall, just pre-fire a shot as the wall breaks, and you'll be able to get a 300 tag just like that. But Cold here makes a really good call. She's not chasing and over-greeding, trying to get the refresh on the other player. Instead, he's perfectly happy. Again, that theme of not being greedy, and instead he's just going to be focused on getting the body that they've got secured in their box and not over-committing, chasing somebody that could potentially run into a duo, and that would be your game over. Instead, he gets that refresh and immediately starts thinking about the next thing, which is the win condition. One really big aspect of getting better at fragging isn't looking for every single opportunity that you might be able to find. Cold does this extremely well. He's not trying to force going for loads of kills. Instead, a lot of time, he's leading on rotates. He's not fighting solos on a rotate. Instead, he's focused on getting to a good position and thinking more on a macro scale about how they can actually win the game. He does this really smartly here. As you can see, he's not looking back, trying to get a kill on somebody rotating late. That probably would be a kill opportunity to go for. Instead, he's focused about the game-winning play, which right here is chopping out Bugha and Aviv on height, as you can see. But the key thing is, as he gets his chop out, he doesn't force height immediately. He doesn't call for Acorn to fizz and go up. Instead, they play it very low key and they just keep their mat advantage as strong as possible. They do this by rotating wood for this moving zone, and then on this next moving zone, they're going to execute a height take really intelligently as late as possible. Another big aspect of why he's so good at fragging is he's always right on Acorn's back and they're looking at the same things together. This is a really crucial part of duo gameplay, is that you try and looking for opportunities at the exact same time and you're both sitting next to each other. So whatever the person does run by, you're gonna be able to instantly able to kill. Right here, they're not able to find anything. So instead they execute their win condition play, which right here is taking height. Take a look at how they do this. They fizz up. While he's doing this, he's scouting out height, and they both do a grapple on the edge of Storm just like this, and they both fly up onto ulti height, and now they've got high ground and they just need to pressure Bugha and Aviv down. One really nice thing that I noticed from Acorn's gameplay specifically is he doesn't focus too much on healing up. Instead, he's really focused on pressure on the other players. As you can see here, he should probably be trying to pop a med kit and stay backside on height, but instead they're fighting together, and Cold is doing the exact same thing. He's always on the same page with Acorn when it comes to executing these height takes and winning the game and being focused entirely on that. Thank you very much for watching the video the whole way to the end and getting every bit of information you could. Since we're in the off season right now, we've got basically a week before the new season starts. I'd really recommend you go checking out my site, completely free to do so, and you're going to get 2 routines that you can copy. Speed training, 50 minutes long, as well as an hour-long mechanics routine if you want to get your mechanics as primed up as possible before the new season. Right now, if you just spend an hour a day playing, that is the best way of doing it, and it's going to get you in your highest performing potential for the next season.